Let's go, guys.
You want me to pay you, what, $50 for fucking shiny blue?
Yeah, there's no Tavern Brawl this week. So what do I have to offer for Friday lovers? Like, half a rat on my channel loves Fridays with me and not PewDiePie, my competitor. Always shows up on Fridays. That asshole. Anyways, I have a thing on Hearthstone. One idea. Talk to the newbies, you know. If you are new to Hearthstone, congratulations. This video is for you. We're gonna try and teach you four main principles. I don't know what they are, but I'm good at creating principles. So we're gonna make four principles of how to play Hearthstone, even if you don't know anything about it. You have to know something about it. You have to know how to copy and paste a deck, and how to get gold, basically. You get gold by completing quests or whatever. That's it. This stuff. You just play some games. Now, you do have to play against actual opponents, but usually you just are asked to play stuff, not to actually win. So it's ridiculously easy, alright? To complete quests. You just have to play a little bit of the game every, like, 3 days or something. And especially every week. Every week you do have to win, like, 5 games. But if you care about Hearthstone, you are willing to win 5 games in a week, so it shouldn't be that difficult. And if you're desperate to win and you don't have a good deck, you can still hone your skills in Arena. It's actually the best place to start building knowledge. But it's also a very good place to lose gold, alright, for new players. So I wouldn't recommend, alright? This bad boy. Now, if you're old Hearthstone veteran, and you just clicked on another random Hearthstone video, you might still be interested in the idea that I will summarize everything into 4 principles. Everything that a Hearthstone person needs to know in just 4 things. That you will repeat in your head, basically, if you want to learn how to play Hearthstone better or faster or whatever, right? So can I actually condense and still get 50% win rate? I'm not aiming for a high win rate, alright? Play better and faster doesn't mean you win more, unfortunately. If you just follow 4 principles, you still don't know what the hell you're doing, right? You need to just be very dynamic and adapt to any weird things that happens with the game, right? Your opponent may or may not have a Borkler that you have to play around and whatnot. And I don't recommend having that as a principle, because that's not fun, because you never know when your opponent actually has a thing you have to play around. And whatever I just said should have made your head hurt a little bit. Anyways, so now I'm juggling 2 people. The attention from veterans and attention from newbies. I don't know how to juggle, by the way. So let's throw everyone in the trash. I just want to entertain myself. Can I get more than 50% win rate with following just 4 principles strictly? If I do some improvising moves outside of those 4 principles, I don't deserve to win, right? But I'll just make a misplay of, like, not attack with a creature or whatever. Something like that. I'm not gonna just shoot myself in the face just because I said E or whatever, like Raren would. So, can I get 50% win rate? I like to summon this. And above 60% I mean, 50% would be just to light up like 9 of these squares. We could play like 27 games or whatever. Or we could play it in chunks. As we discover new principles, right? But it's kind of weird. Still not exactly sure, but we just need to bake a cake. Let's do like a primary thing. First of all, let's just copy and paste the deck. But technically I already have one, which is just Paladin. You don't want to play a control deck, first of all. That would be pretty terrible if you did that. Because control decks are more reactive, and then you just have to see what your opponent does and just remove their stuff. Control decks are technically like the most boring thing you can do in Hearthstone. You're literally just watching a movie at that point and doing nothing yourself. Control decks have to have win conditions, is just they're very generic. So I'll just do Paladin. It's a very popular thing. I guess I'll just show the deck first. But if you want to copy a deck, it's a very simple source HS replay, and then you pick a positive win rate class. It's a good place to start. I would want to copy and paste Priest. Now, you must consider only something below 5,000 dust, because everything else you will struggle to actually pay for. Best thing to start below even 2,000. So this is actually something I would probably be able to craft quite simply. Let's see what cards do we need. A lot, actually. This is a Thief Priest. It has Finley. Wait. What does it say? It's so cheap. Oh, it is 15. What? I'm looking in the wrong place. Yeah. Undead Priest. That's the one I wanted to craft, but I was like... this is the dust requirement, and somehow I mixed that up. Wow, I am blind. I am blindfolded right now. It's a perfect time to play Hearthstone and build 4 principles when you're blindfolded. When you don't have eyes to be able to adapt to your environment, you need to rely on other senses. I literally just don't have this card. And there's probably a pretty good replacement for that. I would consider Sylvanas. Sylvanas is always annoying. You can take a Borkler like this. Always a good idea to add a Borkler if you don't have too many. This Borkler is broken, so it's completely fine. You might also want to consider locations. Locations happen to be very broken cards. This is also very good. So for Shadow Priest, I would consider this. It's very good, but I don't think it's as good as a location. Weirdly enough, location does not appear in this deck, but I recommend you have this, alright? And you always consider adding locations. Again, this is for deck builders, another group of people. How do we... First of all, we will need less cards because our trading is going to be better. But we also have to consider that there's a lot of 1-drops in my deck. And maybe I don't want to steal my opponent's cards that desperately. So we're just going to add 2 locations. Again, we just replaced card draw with actual tempo. And tempo is the name of the game. Alright, when we're focusing on actually winning, we're focusing on tempo. Now, there's aggressive tempo, there's mid-range tempo. This is aggressive. Right now, aggression is winning, because late game cards are pretty toxic, and the moment you put down a big-ass lifesteal creature or something. Right, there's not a lot of that going on. But, there's a lot of weird stuff that could shut you down. Because your opponent just happens to start healing himself. There's a lot of toxic things about Hearthstone. I don't want to rant about it. I always do, but this time I will try to withhold myself from ranting. It's gonna be very difficult. Is that the best we get for a 2-drop? Undead? It does seem good. I would just prefer maybe something else. Like a discovery effect is a very powerful thing to focus on. Just dealing damage, I don't think it's is that significant. And then you have this Vizier, which is also a very, very powerful card. You cannot underestimate Discover Effect, so I am tinkering the deck a little bit because I'm noticing there might be flaws in it, you know. I always check the deck because people, most of the time, they're just going full in on aggression and they don't actually care. So, I tend to make the deck a little bit more mid-ranged. That doesn't mean it's not aggressive. It's just more well-rounded. In case the game is lengthened somehow and your creatures get killed very quickly, you still have a way to just keep dealing damage over time. I would even say this card is pretty good. I'm not sure why it's not in the deck. This is a Death Rattle, so it doubles with Undying Allies. Again, there's a lot of direct damage going on here. And I'm not very interested in that, but I do have enough 3-drops, so well, I would prefer this over this. You know, when it comes to being a tempo player, I like to, instead of getting damage to the face, I just summon another minion that my opponent has to deal with. It's not like my opponent is gonna heal because they killed my creatures. It's just a creature is capable of being killed, but if it survives it, well, it will deal that damage, that attack damage. So, very important ideas to help your creatures survive. How are we gonna do that? Well, figure it out. All right, it's gonna be one of the principles in a way. Something like this is also pretty interesting. A Mermy. It's a creature that can die twice, and we do care about things that die, but Reborn is already in here. Corporal used to be in the deck, and somehow it was taken out, even though the main enabler, I believe, still exists. Maybe not. This card right here. Silence a friendly minion. It's quite an enabler. I'm not sure why this crazy 2-drop was removed. Also, I'm not sure why they don't use the Harvester when they actually steal a few cards here and there. It's very difficult to like couple it up, but stealing a creature is a ridiculously powerful thing to do. So maybe instead of card draw, I could do that. But let's just replace one of these. So you can see there's some options you can do. There's overhealing. That's a cool thing, but we don't have healing cards besides the location. Alright, so I tinkered the deck a little bit just to inspire you guys that you don't have to just copy and paste the deck. There's potentially different variations that you can play. It doesn't have to be full aggressive one or full control one, because those are actually boring. Alright? Maybe people win because it's boring, because it's too easy to play a deck like that. But I'm trying to educate people with what actually good principles to follow to actually win, and not just play your cards with a brain-dead attitude. I mean, I don't know why you picked up a Hearthstone game. Just pick up a shooter. I don't know, play a RPG or something. Fucking Minecraft out of all things. Fortnite. Don't play Hearthstone if you want to be brain dead all the time. I see a lot of abusive people in this game, and I'm questioning if they're having fun or not, or they just, you know, zombieing around. So I do have gripe on that one. So Undead Priest, we're gonna play that. We could mix these two decks together just to, you know, the principle's supposed to work on both decks. And I think these are playable decks and everything else is something beyond the scope of what I can do, because these are tempo decks. This is what I'm familiar with. This is the maximum amount of fun you can have in the game. And you cannot call me a control or aggro player. The moment I see my aggro player is winning, I'll just concede. Alright? The moment I see my board gets cleared and I'm running out of resources, I will concede. The game is over. I've decided the game is over. You didn't decide anything. Because in tempo matchups, then it gets very close. Then you never really know, will my opponent have that 3 damage? Will he trade to my minion? Will he make mistakes? Anything can happen in tempo matchups, because a board is full on both sides and both people are like struggling to, you know, win the game. So it's the most fun you can get, alright? Any deviation from that is going to result in a very horrible, mind-boggling experience where you're trying to win, and you will be winning, but at what cost? Like, it's a fucking game. Learn how to have fun, alright? Fun and game. I'm trying to cut fucking from my vocabulary, because I don't get any. So, I can say funk and funnin'. Alright? I have to remember that, but I will still say the F word too many times. Alright, so that's the idea. Now, let's warm up and try to talk through what moves I'm making. Out of those ideas, I will be able to build principles, basically. So let's start with Undead Priest and just see if the deck works. If there's a card I need to change, and I will start baking a cake. Birthday. These are 4 principles that you need to follow, that if you follow, you should be fine at the game. Of Hearthstone, but usually people copy and paste Hearthstone ideas, and they do translate a little bit. So now we just populate it with layers. First layer. Now, because Ari is kind of inspiring this episode, because I need to teach noobs how to play, I will summon her playlist. Unfortunately, I can't just type playlist. I have to click 2 buttons before that happens. Alright. Oh, someone replied. What did I just read? Yeah, the challenge is to get 4 principles and achieve above 50% win rate. At least in Platinum, that we are right now, stuck in, alright? I am allowed to concede, alright? I don't need to climb, you don't need to climb, there's no reward for climbing, alright? You want an extra pack? You want extra frustration because you're facing more powerful opponents? I don't think you need that shit, alright? You need to treat Hearthstone a little bit more casually, and you need to think outside the box of how can you make fun out of it instead of strictly aiming for one goal in particular. Maybe that's applicable to life, but let's focus on the game. So let's just summon all layers so we don't have to worry about it. Fire and wind. What do we do with water? Well, water is about feelings. And the best feeling of all time, best feeling is when you get perfect trades. So either a spell deals 3 damage and you needed exactly 3 damage to kill a minion, you needed a ping, you needed a hero power upgrade, whatever you needed, you can do direct damage, or you can deal minion damage where minion survives, or a minion survives and activates an effect, or gets to be healed, or a minion survives with an effect that, you know, keeps on repeating, or that you needed a minion to survive because you're going to return it to your hand. Stuff like that, you know. But mostly it just comes down to just getting those trades. Getting a 3-4, attack into 3-3, or even better, a 1-3, you know. Technically, it usually is a 1-drop, but if it has like a ridiculous effect, it's pretty good. It's exact amount of damage. So perfect trades. Second thing is using all your mana efficiently. Now, if you just waste your mana and your opponent just clears your entire board with like a 3 mana card, you will cry. You will uninstall Hearthstone. You have to be very careful of how you spend your mana. Alright? You should be using all your mana whenever possible. If your board is full, you have to draw cards. If you need a big minion, you have to be able to create one. You have to be able to buff cards too sometimes. So you have to think, how can you build a deck to make sure you use all your mana? Alright? You have to think about it all the time. And when you're playing the game, you also have to use all the mana. It's the easiest thing to understand. You just have to calculate whether cards add up to the mana amount that you're about to play. Third thing, fire. Now we're going to focus on the opponent side and how to control the opponent from doing terrible things to you. Alright? There's sometimes counter cards. There's some things you have to keep in your hand and not waste it as well. So you have to be able to read your opponent. Be familiar with the weaknesses of the opponent class. This is very important. You have to be able to understand the weaknesses. You have to understand what you're playing against. For example, Death Knight does not have a single weakness, so that's pretty interesting. Mage cannot actually output a lot of tempo, but has a lot of Borklers, and a lot of ways to remove your creatures. What can you do about it? I don't know, to be honest. Druid doesn't have any Borklers, so he dies all the time. Alright, so if you see a Druid, he's half dead already. Alright, just because you saw him. I don't know why he's there. Who put him there? You always have to have Borklers. In fact, one mistake I did with the Gigadin deck, or whatever I call it, is that I didn't put a Borkler. I'm an idiot. Alright? I saw that the constructed deck, the copy-pasted deck, does not run Borklers, so I thought it was like totally fine not to do that myself. And I was wrong. Alright? If you can add a Borkler, if you can create a strength for your class, like that, like, you just put it in, alright? Next thing, and final thing, is adaptation, I believe. there's discovery effects. There's abilities to draw cards. You have to think outside the box a little bit and think if you may need a certain tool to counter your opponent in this specific time. If you need to dig a little bit deeper in your deck. Maybe that's the idea, right? If you see a weakness, maybe there's a way to exploit it. So maybe those are 4 principles that we're gonna be working with in tinkering to make it more specific. And I don't know how we're gonna enrich these words. It's gonna be a terrifying process to me, because I like abstractions, unfortunately. But I have to actually talk about examples. A 3-4 trading into 3-3. Maybe that's gonna be the example. In fact, the principles have to reflect on what happens in the games we play. What happens the most often is something we have to keep track of. So, just to make a meme out of it, you know. So it's not abstract, you know exactly what I'm talking about, because there's an example alongside with a little bit of wording, you know. I'll just quickly translate into 3-3 and then heal, or taunt the 3-1 for future trades, basically. What do you do with your mana? Have played 2-drop, then discover a 3-drop. How about that? You know, you're just thinking in the future of how you're gonna fill in your mana. It's the most basic thing. Minion, by the way. Minion. Weakness of opponent class. Oh, hi, druids. And rogue. And there's more. Warrior is also pretty weak. It has 2 brawls. But there's also Shaman that only has 1 Borkler, and some of them don't even run the Borkler. And sometimes Shaman. My favorite thing is to exploit Borklers, because Borklers are the most powerful cards in the game. I don't know how you can deny that. It's pretty simple rule in this case. And this is why Priest loves having a lot of damage, because it's a requirement when you start losing creatures left and right to somehow finish the game. Instead, I want to torture myself and play a tempo deck. If you see a weakness... Oh no, I have a counter card for your upcoming Borkler. I don't know, man. Honestly, I don't know. Something very weird has to happen in my game. I could just watch one of my old videos or try to remember something cool. But my memory of Hearthstone is pretty trash, because there's a lot of games happening and no special events, really. Alright. Besides killing a Blood Death Knight, that was a special thing I did very recently. Alright, with that in mind, let's see if we can improve any of these things. And at the same time, we have to make sure that the principles are also so detailed that you know exactly what to do every single turn. So I have to follow exactly those principles and not do much else. Alright? And if I need something, I have to write it down that I need this particular thing. In order to adapt to my strategy against my opponent. If again, I can't have 2 unique moves that make no sense at all. There's like idea of maximizing, like efficiency is maximizing the way using all your mana and effects. Efficiency. The reason why I say effects is that you need to have a minion, for example, for this to work, right? You need to have minions for the future for this to work that happen to be undead. So you have to have small creatures that you can play next turn. Maybe you want to withhold it in your hand because it's going to be better in the future. So you want to be efficient. You want to, if you want to calculate things, you can do that. But it's best to just kind of have a feeling of how to do this. If you know this is going to die in turn 1, you can't play it. You just can't play it. Because you need to activate the egg. The best thing to do is to test. Will it die? Will it blend in the blender? Does he have automatic 2 damage? Usually, this class does have it. Demon Hunter. Alright. So don't play that one. It's not good. A 1-2 on turn 1 is not necessary. Alright. Even in this case, we're just putting this thing in the blender because we do need the efficiency of activating the effect. But let's do it anyways, right? The idea is, for the next turn, I don't know what I'm gonna draw. So in order to be efficient, I actually have to play the 2-drop, because I might draw a 2-drop again, and I won't be able to be efficient because I already wasted the 1-drops. So I have to play the 2-drop right now, despite this not actually working very well for the effect. But the effect is at the end of turn, so we'll still retain the effect regardless. And he's actually unable to kill it right now. So that is fantastic for me. I'll be able to play the egg and efficiently use mana by using a hero power as well, which has been upgraded, right? However, effects, especially if they don't cost a card. There's no short way to say this, unfortunately. Card-free effects, basically. Something like that. Or especially useful hero powers. If you can weave in a hero power that's not garbage, I guess that's cool. But now the game has power crept so much that hero powers are terrible. If you use a hero power, potentially you just lose because you're too slow. Right now we're looking at this card as well, so we want to be efficient by being able to activate it next turn, potentially, right? He will trade into one of these, and the board might get cleared. So the idea is to just ignore everything and discover a good card. Give undead an unborn. So I can't play this card. In order to be efficient, I don't need to heal, so I need this effect. I need a tempo effect. It's just very basic stuff. I can't believe the game is just that goddamn simple, to be honest. If we're desperate, we're just gonna sacrifice the egg. Was there a way to kill this and protect our creatures? I don't think there was a way. I don't think there was. I would have had to sacrifice this and hero powered just to kill this, and it's not that important. So, because we're not getting a good trade, a perfect trade, it's not worth to do anything. He just played this card. I don't understand what he's doing with that. Unless you couple it with... He's basically not going to be able to use the effect. And this effect is really powerful. And now, because I gave him a lot of things to trade into, he chose not to trade into this for some reason. He attacked something else. He attacked the arms dealer. And now he's going to get punished by the most broken thing called the Borkler. And now he lost. Despite the changes in my deck, I don't think I'm worse just because I put Amalgam of the Deep in the deck, especially when I get to discover exactly what I need. If I needed healing, I would have gotten that. If I needed a big creature for the end game, just to last a little bit longer, I probably would have picked the 9-drop and be fine with it. Alright, he's gonna trade. Now we have to find the perfect trades, right? We have to still do math. Unfortunately, I have nothing. I just have 6 damage all the way. However, I do have this Reborn effect that I could put here. So we're definitely playing this card. And because hero power is so good, we should put it in. There's one more play I can make. I could fish for lethal. This thing deals 5 damage. So if I do this, I should be able to find lethal. Because there's a lot of undeads in my deck. I probably should have picked this one, but we just got lethal. I don't really mind misplaying, BMing myself. He doesn't know. Alright. We won our first game. And we didn't really have to react to what my opponent was doing. So that was a little bit too easy. I'll greenify. The things we lose, I'll just make them blue. Alright. Alright. Looking good. The deck works, everything's good. I guess I'm gonna greenify if it's Undead Priest, and it's gonna be yellow if it's Paladin that wins. But then again, should I just... Maybe I should just play 3 decks, actually. What should be the third deck? There's the big Demon Hunter. I don't recommend playing high roll decks. They are a little bit weird. I don't appreciate the strategy behind it. I'm sure I could upgrade the deck. And then you also have Hunter. Is there an aggro version of Hunter? Face Hunter. It looks pretty expensive because it has to run quite a few legendaries. Hydralodon I don't have. Quel'Tharis is pretty cool. This is fine. Dragon's Bane replaceable, I believe. Collateral. I tend to focus on aggro decks. Again, control decks don't follow principles. You're just reactive. If you happen to summon creatures, of course you're going to get those perfect trades. If you can exploit weaknesses, yes, sure, that's a principle, but it means literally nothing. It requires so much knowledge of your opponent that you can't really play efficiently control decks. I don't even know if I recommend, over tempo decks, because I never play them. And I don't really play aggro either, but I like aggressive stuff more because it counters other aggro decks. If I get the hold of the board, I usually just win. More often than not. This seems pretty basic. But we can probably just copy and paste. I don't even know if I need to change anything. Yeah, the Astalar I don't have. It was recently nerfed, so who cares? Hydrolodon is a craftable thing. Wild Spirits also got nerfed. This got nerfed. Somehow we need to find replacements for these cards. It's not going to be very easy, and this is probably why I don't want to play a deck like this. Zero is pretty good. I call it Zero because of one video I made. You can find a thumbnail. Harpoon gun should be fine. We don't have weapons. This should be perfect. Lacking 3 drops as well. Good enough for me. Cast spells. We can do that too. We can try and shell-shotting the opponent. Discover stuff is reasonable. I would say this Borkler boy is gonna be pretty sweet. We don't actually have that many beasts, so this thing doesn't work. Do we have death rattles that deal damage or something? I don't know. This got buffed, so it's kind of reasonable. I want to see the difference between a harpoon gun and the jammer. What beast would we be able to discover here? Are there any? Should I consider doing that? I mean, we discovered this. And this is pretty powerful at taking back our tempo. I would consider this very much. Instead of barbed nets. I don't think barbed nets are that important. Alright. This should be interesting. Hopefully I don't need to change anything else. You need to cast 3 spells. I'm a little bit concerned about that, but this should be fine. There's this triple spell thing going on. If you just draw one of them, technically, you're fine. Alright. Also, still consider location. Locations are pretty powerful. The problem with location, it specifically requires beasts, which I do have, and again, it's still considerable. This already has Rush, but it could use a little bit extra attack. I just don't have enough beasts. Alright, unfortunately, location does not fit in. That's fine. Alright, now the games begin. Now we just begin the onslaught. 3 classes. Which one gives us most views, guys? Give me views, classes. I don't need no shit. No shit wins. I need them views. Alright, so Priest is going to be purple for obvious reasons. And, Paladin is going to be yellow and Hunter is going to be green. Let's begin. Paladin is going to be second. And so on. Because Death Knight does not have weaknesses, so we just concede. I don't want to torture myself. It's kind of okay to fight against not Blood Knight. I just don't want to waste time right now. It's the most toxic class in the game right now, so I just skip. And technically, you might want to do that for entirety of Hearthstone. Just literally skip the most toxic shit that keeps showing up a little bit too often. This is like extra toxic because you never know what you're gonna get either. So it's actually like very difficult to mulligan against this thing. You just technically mulligan the most aggressive aggressive hand and concede to Blood Knight if you're desperate to win games. I'm desperate to have fun, so let's not do that one. Alright, a fun class, let's go. Again, I coined this out for efficiency. This is still a good play. Still a very good play. But this card is just broken and you want to maximize value against heavy decks. It's heavy because it has extra health. Alright, what do we take, right? Consecration is going to be ridiculously powerful. Jitterbug is pretty goddamn powerful, but we don't need card draw. So we're trying to fill in army. I think Consecration is very, very good. Let's do that, because I'm scared of whatever he's doing, right? So his weakness is that he's going to summon a bunch of totems, and I'm just going to get to kill them with a Borkler, right? That is his weakness. His weakness is that he's a shaman, and he likes summoning minions for some reason. Obviously, we have to kill this thing instead of that, because this doesn't do much. But over time, this is going to be annoying. However, we're going to have a Divine Shield. So does that change anything? And do we attack with a weapon? Is a question. I think we do. In order to maximize... Ah, this is so confusing. I would do this, and I don't know why. I mean, I want to maximize the hammer, especially against heavy classes. We already have his weakness. We're going to clear his board. So we can focus on efficiency, meaning that we can just focus on building a bigger burst or a better trade for the future. You know. And we're not actually trading into anything good. So there's another thing we're missing here. I don't know which emoji to use. Unfortunately, I don't have. But let's just use star. The idea is, if you have a 3 attack weapon or a 3 damage spell, I'll finish the sentence after this trade. This is a perfect trade. And then we do this as well. However, this is not infused, so it doesn't have maximum effect. The way we can actually handle this is play the Consecrate, but Consecrate is ridiculously powerful, so we don't want to waste it either. Conundrum? I don't think so. We'll just play the card, get a perfect trade. This seems to be very good so far. And the effect does not fade. This minion does not have to have a Divine Shield to give +2 attack. It would have been nice to have Divine Shields on these creatures, but I had no ways to actually activate it besides summoning Great Hall into Reinforce. And then I don't know what I would do in the future. Now, I can't... It's very frustrating right now. My mom is talking through the phone for some reason. And that is really annoying to me, okay? So I might not want to comment right now on what's going on. It's getting too complicated anyways, unfortunately. Oh. This is going to be very useful. Again, efficiency. Now that we have a lot of cards, we should be focusing on dumping our hand, alright? Instead of getting some kind of overtime value. Not really that relevant. we could also take advantage of this, but the best way to take advantage of this is to have an attacking creature. Alright? However, if we summon too many creatures, we will lose the ability to attack because we just summon creatures, and it's gonna buff a creature that we summoned that cannot attack. Problems, guys. I also have another Disco Mall, so we should also consider just buffing the creature, this one right now, and just replacing Disco Mall with the new one. So, there's a lot of things to consider. We have a lot of cards. Don't waste it killing 0/3s, you know. It seems like a perfect trade, but 0/3s can be killed by a minion for free, you know. You don't need to use a spell for it. If there's no threat, you don't need to kill a creature. You can wait a little bit longer, especially if it's a weapon that keeps growing in size or in value. This is a very powerful card for Disco Mall, but we have to dump the hand. My opponent is wasting time. Alright, so the idea is we just do what I just said. You don't need that totem no more. There's no reason for me to attack face with a weapon, because a weapon is expendable. If there was a minion that could attack into a totem, that would be a lot better. But, yeah. Totem dies, obviously. I don't even know why I had to argue about that. You just kill everything. Oh, I forgot to play this. To maximize efficiency, right? Missed a 1/1. Now, how do you attack face? When do you know to attack face is also a question, right? Alright, so we have a board. The question is, can we clear this? You know, should we consider doing this? I don't think so, because we have so many good trades with minions instead. And we could start here. There is a consideration to do a Borkler anyways. And I would show you how it would be done. So we buff this first. Bump that. Borkler now. We can play these guys. Now we can bump this. And we do have to remove creatures that keep generating value. We don't have to play this. We can just use the hero power because our board is full anyways. We don't really have to swing. We're playing against a value deck, so he has to have a lot of Borklers to survive. But we can definitely dump our hand, I believe. So, what is that? Don't leave minions if you can clear them for quite easily. If you're not setting up lethal... oh, wow, congratulations. You got a very toxic concoction. But I'm not worried. We can start being efficient with our effects. And play this as early as possible. For the rest of the game effects, I have to consider that. Now, because he was struggling with the board, we know he has a weakness called not having Borklers. It's our favorite weakness to exploit. We can definitely attack and set up lethal. Now, lethal setting up, right? We could exploit the weaknesses even more and try not to overextend. He's gonna steal our taunts. So it doesn't really matter whether we overextended or not. I don't think we have a way through all this nonsense. But he has no way to actually... Oh, he's just desperate. And he got lucky as hell. We have to kill this because it's a terrifying effect, but is it really lucky when all that can happen is this? In the end... Also, if this survives, we get to keep generating Divine Shield creatures with extra attack. Do we need to draw cards, is the question sometimes. But usually you don't have to worry about card draw. If you can help yourself with extra card draw, why not? Now, when it comes to lethal, Borklers are very useful. So if you can use efficiently a Borkler before lethal, this is your best bet to use maximum amount of damage you can do with a Borkler. So that's that, and now that we have a minion that we can attack with, most likely we have lethal. And yes, we found it. Paladin wins as well. I honestly don't know how to treat principles to make them strict, because I always want to like play the best game I can possibly play. So it's kind of annoying to try play any other way. God damn it, bro. I guess I'm just like a pro player giving pro tips. I don't know, man. Just putting everything down in one video. Like I always do. Because I have so much time. So yeah, the idea is... if you're searching for lethal, board clear is your best bet to maximize, right? It's a very, very specific situation. Does it occur often enough? Well, you always before lethal, I would say just play the Borkler, alright? Even if you're not reaching lethal, you don't have to calculate, you just have to feel it, to be honest. Math is weird on this one. You just have to feel like I have a lot of attack, I can play a Borkler, maybe there's lethal. You just go for it. Because when you follow principles, you don't really have to make exact math decisions. Yes, if your opponent survives for one extra turn, they have another chance to come back, but usually they can't. How can you come back with 1 health when you still have to clear minions using spells and Borklers when you couldn't do it beforehand? So most of the time you don't actually need math to succeed. Funny enough. And that's technically another star thing that we have to consider. You don't need exact math for lethals. However, there are specific situations when you're not sure, then you definitely can just calculate. You have plenty of time. Just maximize attack, buff all the creatures or whatever, draw the cards, seek for extra damage, and then put everything together, see if you have lethal. If you don't have lethal, you trade, obviously. You try to dodge your opponent from doing the same exact thing to you. So, unless your opponent's board is also scary, then you have to consider, because now you have to squeeze as much value as possible, because both of you are somewhat fighting equal battle, and who knows who's gonna pull the first lethal. So yeah, then things get pretty intense. Alright. There's also mulligan ideas. Normally just looking for 1, 2. If 4-drop is fine, you can keep it, because it fills in the 4-drop slot. Alright, and this technically fills in a 2-drop twice. So you could play it on turn 3. If you see a hand like this, it's a keep. You don't want to mix things up and get a bunch of 1-drops or bigger cards. This seems like a perfect hand. I don't have much else to say about Mulligan. Again, you're just looking for efficiency most of the time. Or just get a lucky mulligan. You know? Mulligan matters. If you get a 1-drop, sometimes you can bump your win rate significantly. He has one too, and I think I lost because of that. He has double 1-drop. That is pretty disgusting. It is a slip-up, because I have a perfect answer to that. Garbage. Alright. How do you use tradables? This is too complicated. If you have extra mana again, and you're looking for efficiency, so do you need to play the biscuit as soon as possible? Unfortunately, yes, because you're looking also for trades, perfect trades. And I don't have buffs, so this would be very good to actually keep. So the weakness, if I'll be able to get the trade, that should be the weakness. Now, can we prepare? Divine Shield kills are pretty good, so summoning 1/1s is a good idea. Now, I don't actually want to summon the monkey when I can play this, even though... But it's also a spell, so I guess it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter yeah. It doesn't matter because I don't get extra... Also, I get to have 2 spells in my hand that do different things. There's another thing, right? Which also applies to deck building, but try to retain variety in your hands. Cards that do different things. Variety can sometimes mean you have to draw cards just to get variety, but that's too complicated. We're not gonna focus on that. Again, now we have to maximize value. We have perfect trades, nothing to worry about here. So we can just play this to maximize the stuff. However, there's something hidden in my deck called an effect that's probably even more powerful than just maximizing a simple weapon. Because weapon, unfortunately, is not going to do much to this board, right? We don't actually need to play this. We do have to pull our beast, the only beast we have in the deck, that's going to be infused and going to do ridiculous amount of damage to the paladin. We're using the principle of the weakness. The weakness is that paladin is just going to play tempo, and the Borkler is going to annihilate him. That's it. We have to kill the Divine Shields to minimize potential damage, and we have to kill these 1/1s, unfortunately. If we can. I chose to kill the 2/1, because I don't think he's going to be able to abuse the recruits, but they are a little bit dangerous. So once this fully infused, I should be able to just smash a bunch of shit and hide behind a taunt. Or even another one, if I have to. So this might just die. All of this. Does he use the hammer is the question. He should. It's not very efficient. He got lucky, and now I'm not happy about that. So, because this doesn't actually do much, we might want to use the weapon right now. It seems completely fine. That's a perfect trade. So that's that. We actually gonna keep this alive. We don't want this to die. It's gonna be a perfect thing to kill for our beast. Really good stuff. Hunters don't actually have Borklers, so having something like this in your deck is absolutely essential, I would say. Alright. Looking good. And the way we do this, we actually cannot kill this. So we have to use this as the middleman for our Borkler. I think we have to trade like this. I'll keep the 1/1 alive. Then we just slam it. Well, I keep it to trade into that. The question is, do we use the thing already? I don't think we have to. We have plenty of spells left, so we can continue maximizing value. He cannot actually take advantage of this. There's no cards that buff this. Maybe you can get like a Divine Shield buff, but he's only killing a monkey. Nothing to worry about. We can leave this up. So, it's, yeah, there is a question of, like, do you keep... So, weaknesses of the opponent class. That most of the time, they're not going to be able to buff this. That's the weakness, I would say. We can't abuse this card, but we can use this again. Very good stuff. So definitely maximize the Borkler effect. We can even go one step forward and use bananas. And on top of that, we gonna use the weapon too. Basically, the opponent is in a terrible position. The only question now, do we attack this with that? Because we're gonna save 1 health. I don't think that matters. 1 extra health. Not really a big deal. And now we're gonna summon this thing. Let's buff this, use our hero power, keep 2 spells in hand, and attack and summon whatever the hell is gonna come out. Alright, we could have been more greedy, but this is a perfect timing, I would say. We're setting up lethal. The Borkler is impossible to deal with for Paladin. We just exploited this guy into oblivion, bro. It's fascinating. Basically, what Paladin is doing now is contemplating life choices and stuff. He will waste all my time doing so, but it's nice to see someone's soul just cry. And he does it so silently that I don't really mind. My ears are not gonna suffer from him crying. So we can just find a random YouTube video where there's someone crying and overlap that. Let's try and do that, maybe? Well, it's too late. So what I'm gonna do now is just play as normal and maybe highlight a few things here and there. We're entering hour number 2. Unfortunately, the idea of the following principles to win games, there's like simple nuggets that I follow. I just offloaded everything that I believe you need to know about the game. It's quite simple, I would say, when you don't need to adapt to specific things and you just know how things work. And when it's simplified like that, it's like, well, I guess I completed a Hearthstone, I guess. I figured out all the principles. Honestly, I did. Honestly, there's not much to it left besides having fun with extreme cases of doing weird things in Hearthstone. Alright, pulling off some weird combos. Combo decks are ridiculously complicated because you're just gonna die most of the time if you mess up your deck building or you're not using your resources efficiently. This is again why I try to stay away from controlling combo decks, because that is a mindfuckery. If you want an extreme case of maximizing difficulty, just start leaning towards that side, and the games are gonna last longer, they're gonna be more difficult. I don't know if you're gonna win more games because of that. It's just like, if you want difficulty, congratulations, you can do that one. Because you will allow your opponent to do a lot more things, but you will also have to do your things too, efficiently. And I don't like that. I like to shut down my opponent with tempo, and it's the most satisfying thing for me. And technically most efficient, I would say. So, all the classes have been able to win quite easily. Let's find out what happens if I play the rest of the games. Let's remove this, because it seems like I might not have enough time for 27 games. That sounds like a torture. So let's just speed run the rest of the stuff. I'm like very satisfied, by the way. This is cool video. Cool Friday we having. Alright. Let's start grinding around. There's like 200 songs. Alright. Let's begin the onslaught of playing these different decks. Maybe there's gonna be a highlight. I don't know what I'm looking for, to be honest. This is a very complicated mulligan. You would love to see this card, but you would love to see this card with a bunch of other 1-drops. Because we have an extra card, and we have extra card draw, we can take this out. This is just damage, however, it's a very useful 4-drop, because we get to discover the next card. So who's actually supposed to go home? We're playing against Paladin, so tempo does matter. But let's try without this card. I don't know if I need it so desperately when I don't actually have stuff to play alongside with it. It's good at late game, but I don't think I have to keep it. So yeah. A 0-cost card, it has to be very, very good. A Dancing Paladin. It's a deck where if they start dancing, you can't win because they're having so much fun. Alright? So unfortunately, that's it. There's actually no strategy behind this. I'm not even gonna talk about this. If they start dancing, they win. If they don't, they lose. It's a slot machine deck. Congratulations. We found a very interesting opponent, and it's gonna be an excruciatingly boring to fight against it. Oh, now we need a Borgler. So far, he's not dancing. But turn 5 is coming, and he has plenty of taunts. We have a discovery effect. I mean, it's a no-brainer because it's gonna get discounted. And we're gonna play this alongside with it. So, we need to play tempo. Playing tempo is better right now than drawing cards. My opponent is gonna have Borglers, though. I actually would like to dredge, but not that much. Let's just do this. This is just more stuff we can do. However, because we know my opponent's weakness, they're gonna play a lot of big cards. Let's try and grab this, and hopefully it's exploiting something in the end. And let's just heal everything up. We get 2 extra points of tempo, some healing. I call tempo points for each health point a creature has. If it has a little bit less attack than health. Okay, he's not dancing on turn 5. That's good. We can just kill it for free. Fantastic. I mean, he's still attacking my face. I don't know why. He's not gonna win that way anymore. Now he's just desperado. We're gonna attack his face, though. And we're still gonna bump tempo. Unfortunately, I can't save this. We have to go all in face. We can't really waste ourselves killing 1/1s. Again, this is not good trades. We just try to avoid that. If we can help ourselves. We're not in danger right now. We have plenty of health. Unless we're desperate. Alright, that's cool. Alright, now he's just discovering stuff and didn't really try to kill this because it would buff other things. He just locked himself in a terrible spot. We did it. That was easy. I don't know why he has these cards. Maybe he's not a dancing paladin after all. And we were safe. You never know what you're gonna get sometimes. Death Knight has saved me. But technically, you actually want to grind one deck and then switch to the other. Juggling decks is actually a terrible idea, I think. Just focus on one. Because that will just increase anxiety. If you don't actually master the deck and then switch to the deck, you're gonna be just playing one deck. Hearthstone is an expensive game. If you want to play it for free, you'll just play one deck, unfortunately. You'll be lucky if you can play like 3 decks in one expansion. If you play every day, you're gonna get there. You can see people love Death Knight for some reason, right? Something about that Death Knight thingy. It's a new class invented by Blizzard. It sells very well these days, you know. Unfortunately, like, Paladin is good at low ranks, but at high ranks, Death Knight is the dominant class. And nobody likes that, I don't think. On the receiving end, let's put it that way. So I'll just go away. You see, people are desperate for wins, alright? They're desperate for something. They look alike. They're NPCs. We skip that, alright? It's a unwritten rule. Skip the NPC, man. This basically applies to real life. NPCs are too dangerous, so please skip that. Alright? Skip interacting with NPCs. Don't deal with that shit unless you're getting something in return. You don't need, alright? Don't bother yourself taking damage from NPCs or risking things. We have Harvester of Envy, but we don't have Wasted Steel cards. This is a very specific card. And would just generate tempo. If you want to generate tempo, we can just split this into that. It's gonna do just fine. So this is technically late game, doesn't really do much. Maybe it's not a really good addition to my deck. I just happen to have it, you know. I just happen to have the card. So I thought it would be fine. I probably will have to cut it out after this game. Like, we're not exclusively stealing cards from my opponent. It would be nice if we did. Technically, it's a late game 3 drop, which is confusing for the deck to deal with something like this. I'll just take the efficient trade. This is still efficient to play. So just like you're trying to get the perfect trades, you're also trying to avoid getting ripped off and scammed. Unless we're desperate. And dodges, basically. Perfect trades and dodges. You're trying to dodge scams. Alright. So what we can do here is wait for this effect. a double 2-drop effect with this. Coupled with this, we get ridiculous powerful effects. Doubling the death rattle, doubling end of turn effect. We can just play this and it should be fine. We're getting the Borkler that we don't have in our hands. It's not particular weakness of my opponent, but what else my opponent is going to do? They don't have Borklers themselves. And I don't need any of these cards. I don't need more card draw. I already have it. So, you just pick the thing that you need. Because I've drawn this thing, I want to couple it into the combo. It's pretty powerful if we double this. And it's not powerful if we double this. So just, let's get rid of it. Maybe we're gonna find even more stuff to double. There's some card draw we can do. I think we need more tempo. Let's take this one. We don't need to get more attack on creatures right now. So we have prepared turn 5. We're just basically preparing for next turn constantly. Because our opponent is not actually playing anything, so we're just focusing on making sure we're just as efficient as possible with our mana. We're going to be able to draw cards. That is also considerable effect, but a lot of things are going to die soon. We want it or not. This thing actually changes a little bit of what I want to do. I do want to draw now. Best thing to do is like play this in ping. Maybe let's do that instead. Because I'm not going to draw into anything special here. I don't play around secrets. I don't really care. Okay, this is a good buff. Very good stuff. Whew. Alright. I will not be able to use the Borkler just yet. You have to maximize that too. But this turn is going to be spicy for sure. We're also going to be summoning an undead. But that's it. It's not going to take the effect. Because you have to play a card. Play and summon is different things. Alright, now we have crazy amount of Borklers. Alright, let's begin the onslaught. There's no question whether we should ping or not. That's the only option we have. Alright, that's it. Now it's self-explanatory. We just win. This is a very complicated one. We kind of want to trade because it's going to buff this. Also want to heal. We want to play this for sure, right? But first let's draw some cards. Play this. Healing is appropriate. I probably should have traded first before playing this. We got lucky. Yeah, sometimes that is also a requirement. Just get lucky, bro. And just to be ridiculously efficient, smash maximum damage. Now we have a really locked board. We should just win past this point. There's no way. There's no way. Oh, he found the perfect cancer. Well, that can happen. We have to delete everything, right? But the real question is, how do we do this efficiently? Are we desperate to do this? Yes, we do have a second one. Do we play any of this? Let's do it. Let's do the thing. I It sucks. Everything resets a little bit. I still have a better hero power, so I'm the cool guy over here. Whenever you can, pick the end of turn effects, because those are ridiculous. I could get an undead. It's a taunt. I'm not really desperate. I will always try and abuse end of turn effects, especially now that we can double it. It's just unstoppable force, I would say. The question, do we heal? Yes. We still have a weak board. We don't want to lose that. We have options, but we need a board, for sure. And he's weak too. Very good stuff. Sometimes you can just sacrifice your board, not really worry about it. But right now, I don't actually have many cards left as well, so we have to value our things. This is a tough one. This is a tough strategy of how to offload your hand based on the late game. Because late game, now we're entering the control game, where value matters. But you also have to worry about having enough card draw. So you have to manipulate your speed accordingly. This is a maximum speed. We just have to go max, because I'm too slow to take it slow, unfortunately. So for me, it's kind of simple. And he also contemplating life right now. Yeah, I definitely need a sound that sounds like a person crying. Unfortunately, I can't really get the full effect out of this. But that doesn't matter. Alright. Yeah. If you're not playing Death Knight, you're gonna rage quit, apparently. Isn't that crazy? I'm surprised, like, I feel like a survivor of this game. Especially now that I'm, like, completely calm and well collected, and people are starting to spectate me for some fucking reason. I don't like that. By the way, if you want to win games, just play Egg. That's the way you win games these days. Oh, he's killing my egg. He's evil, isn't he? Holy crap. That's why you also need this card. You have to know, if you're a deck builder, how synergies work, so you don't mess the deck up, alright? You don't just leave the egg hanging like this without being able to attack with it and trade it into stuff. You have to have enough buffs. So, just some heads up for deck builders again. I have done something spectacular. I don't know if my opponent is gonna play minions, so I can just play this Borkler for the sake of triggering the egg. Let's go! And summoning a 6/6. This is a good play. It's weird, but it's good. Because we discounted his works. I'm doing pretty great on this one. I don't really have to explain anything. I just have a big boy. We're gonna smash with a Borkler. Everything is going boom out of here. We're also getting a card for the next turn. I could have dealt a little bit more damage. We're taking this. We might need a little bit extra cards. Oh wait, we just win. Oh, oops. Oops, guys. Yeah, I'll take out the Harvester. It's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. Never ever underestimate a creature that can heal. And in this case, overhealing is, like, ridiculously easy. Now, it's not a particularly powerful one, but for a 2-drop, I'll take it, man. It's not a big deal. You could also consider running Silence, and maybe I should do that for, like, Divine Shields, the Dancing Paladin bullshit. Do, in fact, consider Silence or other tech cards that seem kind of fine, right? So Sylvanas, no. When it comes to tech cards, there is a very special card you can play as well, called ETC. Alright? So, usually you can just play that most of the time, and instead of like drawing cards or whatever, let's do ETC instead, and fill it up with the goodies against abusive decks that try to abuse you with a specific strategy. We can do a little bit of tempo, silence, and maybe just clear the board with this or whatever. Let's not overthink. We could just use a board clear like this. I don't think there's much more. This is also reasonable. If big creatures are being summoned, I might need to clear the board. Seems good enough. Let's keep rolling. Let's get those 6 wins, baby. Let's get a clean board, because we follow principles. We're awesome people. I know Warrior is desperate to do tempo, so I have to give him the middle finger, basically. I don't know if it's gonna work, because I don't have much tempo myself. I don't know why he's so astonished. But, now the question, would you really want to play this? Against a warrior, there's no real threat. Let's fucking go, boys. Let's go. It's good. I have nothing better to play. I am running out of cards. I am scared. I'm not gonna hero power, though. I don't have options, alright? I can't wait. I just can't. The problem with this... Now we're toast. We just burnt out. And that's scary. It's time to unleash wrath of tempo. It's not very powerful, but it's gonna do the trick of clearing the board, dealing a lot of damage to him, and summoning this many minions. I think it's Brawl time, but Brawl doesn't save him. I win, I think. I don't know what you can do about that. Let's see it, alright? It looks like I got it. Yep, that's it. Whew! Another easy win. Oh, what the fuck? That's still a win, unfortunately. That was annoying that he was able to abuse the rifts like that. Even though I was running out of cards, I still got it. That was funny. The healing didn't do that much, unfortunately. I would have preferred something else. Now this is a pure control deck. Technically previous one too. This is why you need discover effects. Like I got a juicy one. And you need healing just to sustain on the board. It's very important. In this case, we only got a good trade like that. And that's fine. We don't need to worry about using our hero power. Our hero power is fine. Alright. Let's see what happens. I did not see that coming. He's playing a fun deck. I'm scared. He's playing a fun deck and being very annoying with his emotes. Oh, that's a good card. I don't have Nagas. Yeah, this is fine. No, the other cards are completely useless. You do have to know how cards work, obviously, but that's the fun of it, to get the hang of the effects. This just dies, but he has to choose which option to kill. And this is actually the weakest one, so I'm just gonna play it. If it's not a target to anything, I think it's completely fine to play it. Alright, this got buffed. It's a little bit awkward turn. I could even heal it more, but I have to play this now. All mana has been used. Next turn is also pretty obvious. I don't know. Looking good. He's stuck with pretty broken cards, actually. I don't like where this is going. What are we gonna steal, though, is the question. Should we steal now or later? I don't really have a choice. I gotta go. That is a steal, bro. Holy Jesus. To be honest, I can still play this stuff. Play this later when I'm actually threatened. You save taunts for later. I just hope he doesn't have any more crazy creatures that rush into my stuff. But apparently he does have it, and I'm very sad. So annoying. I will start running out of stuff. What do we have for later? Let's just put this thing in, because now I'm scared. I don't want no problems. But he has one of his own as well. So I might want to grab an ETC. Ugh. Somehow he's not playing that. Is that from... It's probably from his deck, right? Actually, Hearthstone is enjoyable somehow. Can you imagine? We got a perfect trade. Oh, this is toxic. But you can only play one minion at a time. Unless they're discounted like that. Jesus Christ. Here comes the ETC. I don't get the damage. I don't need the damage. Borkler is also very good. But honestly, ETC is just gonna clear everything. It is also a Borkler, if you haven't noticed. I did the thing, and now it's paying off, I think. Big time. Let's see what happens. He only has minions, by the way, so ETC is just gonna annihilate. I do have to sacrifice this creature, though. Talking about annihilation, he gets such good cards, holy Jesus. This is very scary. I will Savor. ETC, he can attack into that. Nothing happens. I get to heal stuff too. So I'll keep ETC card for later. I have to. It's just very good for later. So that happens. We can trade. I keep this for weird reasons. If it dies, I do have to kill my own creature in that case, it feels like. Oh, this is very interesting. Is that it? I don't have an answer to that. I can attack into it. From the deck. I definitely don't have lethal. This is the most annoying card. I have nothing. I have to do this. He's gonna trade into everything. It's totally worth it. I should be able to set up lethal. So that's good. I'm gonna keep board. He gets to trade into that though. Alright, that's fine. Let's kill that. Alright, finale. Who wins? The decision is gonna be made right now. Because I ran out of cards. And he has options. Potentially, but maybe it's not gonna be good enough. That doesn't look like good enough. Like, it doesn't do anything. Did we win? 8 points of healing and kills 3 creatures, and I lost. Or did I? Is it not over yet? Look at that power creep. That is crazy, bro. He's gonna get a lifesteal creature. I need to finish the game. He's gonna get lifesteal back. He has armor left. There's no way I win anymore. That doesn't do much, but he's maybe aiming for something. That's fine-ish. Can we get damage? Can we get an out of this? No. Alright. Well, that was something. There might have been some kind of thing popping out of my death rattle, but that is just desperation. We did lost a game. Fantastic, isn't it? One game. We can switch decks now. That's fine. Alright, so that is an option. I probably have to do the finale. Seems pretty basic stuff. Is to trade into Divine Shield. I have this or that. I should be able to just squeeze the victory here. Here we go. Yeah. I probably shouldn't have played anything. Because I knew that was coming. But you never really know, and it doesn't really matter much. Because my top deck is hilarious. I can probably just go all in. Once I see the one board clear, I don't think it matters anymore. Do I keep this for anything? Nah. I could just, I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen. If he has a second one, I'll fucking die inside, but he can't play it anymore. See, I win. Paladin is stronger. Easy. Alright, also a very simple thing. Don't trade if you can put opponent into a tough position, right? That's what you're trying to create. A weakness for your opponent as well. And exploiting health amount is the most important thing. But that's a very difficult skill to master sometimes. Again, it's just resource management, and that's a difficult skill. That's a control level skill. Worship me, for I have 10 cards, and I shall destroy. I mean, how can I lose with a deck like this? Turn 5 full hand. Stupid Purator. It needs a new name. My hand is full. I'm gonna burn a card. You're not supposed to purify my deck from having cards. That's pretty evil. But we can just offload everything. Do whatever we want. Lawyer. Just Druid is gonna have a miserable time. I don't know why they want to play Druid right now. Oh, he's gonna play a 2-2? No. Oh, that's pretty impressive, not gonna lie. Alright, let's... Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I don't think it's into that sort of stuff. We're just trying to offload the hand. Because it's pretty goddamn full. This is a big question. And I prefer the trader because it's going to give me a lot of taunts. But this is also a taunt and it's going to give me a lot of options. But this is going to get buffed. And it's a 3-drop. This is a 1-drop that it's already buffed. I'll take that one. Yeah, it's a complicated one. And then just offload this stuff. The question, do we attack? Yes. Next turn. Who knows if he can kill anything, if he can do funny things. We can't allow that to happen. Alrighty. Now we can attack. This seems fair. But it's like, these guys are gonna attack already. So you can see how it's not very good timing. Maybe we can wait one more turn. Right. Why rush it when it looks like there's nothing crazy that we can do right now? Besides summoning a goddamn dragon. Which one do we like? I mean, I'll take the big one. I don't need draw. I have infinite amount of draw. Paladin is just what is this, right? What is this? For 8 mana, he's summoning a 9/9. Not like this. My life is ruined. If only I had an answer for that. Ah, it's time. It's time to annihilate. Alright, bye. Goodbye. I had 13 extra damage. Woo, that feels good. Alright. More wins for me. It's not a big deal to win in low ranks, but I mean, it's win is a win, man. Win rate is pretty good. We just offload a bunch of temp. It's kind of brain dead eventually, and there's not a lot of reasons to play Hearthstone unless it becomes more complicated somehow. So maybe you evolve into playing duels or arena mode. You don't want to stay in a Hearthstone standard for too long with the same deck. Or just don't play Hearthstone that often. There's options, basically, you know, to not burn out on interest. Because the best thing about Hearthstone is constant updates. And the mini-set is coming out soon. So it keeps refreshing the metagame. Sometimes a patch is enough, but they forgot what a nerf is. So Paladin is now broken. I don't know. You tell me, bro, what a nerf is. Because Blizzard doesn't know. Maybe we'll forget about it too. But yeah, there's always a way to escape. I play Tavern Brawl every Friday. That's my way to escape mundane, win the game situation with a dumb tempo deck. But other than that, there's plenty of options. Hearthstone is a pretty awesome game. It deserves to be in the first place on my list. There's nothing I can say against it, especially now that I'm cruising, you know, with actually good decks. How did that happen, am I right? My favorite thing is to do for the rest of the game, play those cards. They're ridiculously OP, alright? They're just the strongest thing you can do in the game. Because for the rest of the game, you're doing something. In this case, I will have to decline. Because I need to shut this down. There's too many problems if I don't. And I get to play this. It's not a big deal. But other than that, I just play as soon as possible. Especially against control decks. You know my dragon card does the same thing. And that's how I beat control decks. we kind of switch from tempo into control really fast. Unless I can just crush my opponent and then just accelerate more tempo. It's such a cool thing. In this case, it's not really powerful. Unless you can abuse recruits. Right now I don't have ways to do it, but it's good enough. I don't know, these things too similar for me. That's what I'm insecure about. We definitely need this. Maximize this. So basically it's a resource management maybe. That's the actual thing. I'll fix it later. We're in a tough position here. I need to do this. I would love to do this, but I can't.
My client has the heart of a Kyrian.
Until... well, I can't. I have to be able to attack. Damage matters. He has to brawl eventually as well. So I'm just gonna generate infinite amount of value. And this is really important for me. Against control nonsense. Don't create weaknesses for yourself and learn resource management. This is disgusting. Because this is a shitty colossal. I don't know if I can abuse it. I will have control of the board. So maybe it's gonna work out. In fact, we can sort of make it a lot stronger. And let's see if that works. I mean, I got nothing better than to play this and buff it. Please hit the right spot. Fuck you. So that doesn't work. Well, it's gonna do something funny, so gotta trade. Resource management, guys. Gotta trade. Attacking... killing him right now doesn't mean shit. Until I'm safe, you know, from all the nonsense that he can pull out of his ass. And it looks like I am safe, finally. He didn't do much whatsoever, and I have an immune creature. Very powerful stuff in this case. This is also really good. Perfection, maybe. Maybe, baby. I will withhold playing more stuff. Just one more turn, maybe. I need to check the dragon thing. That's very interesting. I don't think it's gonna hurt to summon another one of these. Alright. Whew, this is so crazy, man. Now he has to top deck the Borklers, man. Nah, he's stuck. That's not bad. Oh, he hit the spot. It's so annoying. He hit another spot! God damn it, bro. How lucky can you get? He didn't hit any of these. What do I have inside there? That's my perfect card. So we're doing this for sure. I don't think I have a choice. I have to do this, right? That's the good trade. Trump cards still looks fine to me. He's running out of cards. Looks good enough. And basically that's how you win in Hearthstone. Ha ha ha. One more game, guys. Yeah, there's a golden rule basically. Life doesn't like tryhards. Find alternative ways to enjoy life. Alright? Winning is not always the answer. But it is for me. It is for me in your face. Eat it. Oh, sorry, there's nothing to see here. It's a Paladin mirror, but he decided to play Max for some reason. I don't know why he's so stupid. Turn 5, my friend. I don't think you can compete with this. Nah, someone needs a nerfy nerf. Someone needs a spanky spank. You know? Which Paladin? Which one is it? Me? Don't look at me. I'm also Paladin. What's wrong with me? What did I do? Oh, he still managed to abuse me so bad. Well, I have nothing to do to be home. Oh, I just lost. So that's that. I'll try now solidify and recap what we have done, I guess. It's a little weird though. I'm gonna quickly look through and try to match the notes here specifically. This seems to be fine. Maybe there's some space over here. Yeah, clearly this was a pretty big highlight. Where Dragonbane was kind of useless, but the board clearing creature getting buffed, like it was just absolute annihilation. And I had to pull it out. It wasn't really like mana efficient or anything. Did it even do anything? Yeah. The moment it got summoned and it created even more unbelievable threats because Paladin forgets to have ways to deal with creatures like that. But that's cool. That's opponent's weakness. Paladin is just incapable of dealing with creatures. Every other class is capable of dealing with creatures. You just don't have to overextend in that situation, or just like Mage cannot actually find enough removals. Extending wide in a wide way, it's a lot easier than stacking a minion and buffing a minion, because there's not a lot of that going on. But you have to consider that it's very important to be able to stack both ways, I think. And that, I guess that's just settles. It's a clean little thing. Don't forget, it's a 3D game. Stack your hand, your board, or just swarm. Just burn all that's, or just burn your nitro. Here you go, finish line. Perfection, right? Here you go, guys. This is how you win in a Hearthstone. If you can improve this for me, go right ahead. Thank you guys for watching. I touched grass today and I will never feel the same. But you don't have to know about it. Bye.